Alright, hello everybody. I'm going to have a new type of video today. I hope everyone is okay with that. It's going to be a little bit different. I love watching the LCS and EU LCS. It's not the EU LCS anymore. It's the, I can't remember. But I love watching both of them. LEC, that's what it is. I love watching both of them. I love watching competitive League of Legends. I love playing the game. Unfortunately, my computer is not good enough for me to record any games of it. So I'm just going to have to resort to this. I'm going to make a tier list here on Tier Maker of the current LCS and LEC teams. Now, before I start, I want to get this out of the way. I don't watch LCK, so they're in their own tier at the bottom. I know how good some of the teams are, like T1, but I don't really watch the LCK. It's on at a weird time. And since this is the time between the splits, I thought this would be a good time to go ahead and put my power rankings of what I think each of the teams are. Now, I found this template on Tier List or Tier Maker, and it has teams that are no longer in the league, such as Spliced here. They got replaced by Mad Lions. Clutch Gaming is now Dignitas. Echo Fox is now Evil Geniuses, and Optic is now Immortals. So when I put these teams up there, I'll remind everybody which team they actually are. And yeah, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start from the beginning here. 100 Thieves. So they sneaked their way into playoffs. And I think that their mid laner, Ryoma, is holding them back a lot. I mean, he is a young player. He is from Australia, but he is taking up an import slot to be at best a mid-tier mid laner, and mid is the most important position on the map. The rest of the team, like Meteos, is insane. He's been really good for years. However, I just don't think that their team, in the current way that it's built, is good enough to do anything. So I'm going to go ahead and put them in a B tier. They can make playoffs, but they can't really do anything. Now, here's where my personal bias is. Cloud9, super team. Let me explain why. Not only did they just win the split, but I think that the team just works together so well. Each single player on there is an MVP candidate. The entire team was just the all-star first team this split, and there's really no way to say that they aren't the best team in the LCS right now. So Clutch Gaming, they are now Dignitas, and Dignitas flopped hard this split. They started off fairly hot, everyone started getting some hopes up, and then they kind of just fell off, and they didn't do too well. So I'm going to put them in a C tier. Next up, the worst team in the LCS, CLG. Not much needs to be said. I had high hopes for Wiggly. He didn't really do anything at all this split. Ruin was not good. I think Crown was a huge disappointment. Everyone had him top 4 at least mid laner coming into the season, and he was the worst and had to get kicked from the team. So that's not a good look, CLG. I'm sorry. So I'm going to put you in C tier. Next up, Echo Fox. They're not Echo Fox anymore. They got their spot taken by Evil Geniuses, and Evil Geniuses was definitely a pleasant surprise heading into the finals. The losers finals. They were on the bottom end of the bracket. They got third, and I'm gonna go ahead and put them at a high B tier. I still think that Kumo isn't good enough to really compete and just, win games off of his back. And he does have the chance to lose you games. When he's playing well, he's just a mid-tier top laner. But Jizuke and Bang really started playing well towards the end of the split, and Svenskeren was playing pretty well with Jizuke. So I'm going to give them a high B tier. I don't think they're the best that anyone has to offer. Yeah, Excel. I'll be honest, whenever there's an Excel game, unless it's against, like Fnatic or G2, I really don't feel like I want to watch it. I mean, they're a halfway decent team. I just don't think that they're exciting. And since I skip a lot of their games because, I don't really have a connection with any of the players. I'm not really a big fan of them. I'm going to go ahead and put them in B tier because I don't know a whole lot about them. FlyQuest. Power of Evil was a monster this split. He was definitely the second best mid laner in the league. I think that them switching to solo partway through the season really helped them, and they did make it to the finals. And they didn't play well against Cloud9, but then again, Cloud9 lost 2 games this entire split, so yeah, there's not a whole lot you can do against that. But I think they were definitely a pleasant surprise. Wild Turtle's back to some of his old form, and yeah, it was pretty enjoyable watching them play. Fnatic, ooh, they were a bit of a disappointment at the end of the year. They kind of choked away the championship. However, I'm still going to put them up there at the super team. That's really the S rank. But I'm still going to put them up there because I thought Fnatic, they lost to G2, but they were still the #1 team throughout the regular season. And I really think that the rookie duo of Selfmade and, well, not rookies, but Selfmade and their mid laner that I just can't think of off the top of my head. Yeah, they were really, really good this split, and they didn't have to rely on Reckless and Hillsong trying to carry the game. Whifflo was on and off. He was either a monster or, just fed like he did in Zac Game 3 against G2. But, that's what you get when you have a coin flip play like that. Next super team, the other powerhouse from EU, G2. I'm putting G2 up there at super team. These aren't ranked. I think all three of these teams can pretty much go even with each other, depending on the day. I think G2 is the most coin flipping of all of them because they're either going to stomp you or they're going to lose to Mad Lions, because that happened. Yeah, I think that G2, I think the Caps is finally figuring out how to play AD carry, and I think if he sticks with it, by the time the end of Summer Split rolls around, I think he can be very, very good at it. He's a monster mechanically. Perks is looking just like old Perks when it came to playing in the mid lane. I still thought the Perks was really, really good AD carry. I don't know why they made the swap, but whatever. Wonder is a rock as always. He can carry a game when he needs to. Jankos, he was an MVP at one point. And Mickey can play pretty much anything he wants support and make it work. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and put them in the super team as well. Golden Guardians. I didn't have them pegged to do anything heading into the season, and they managed to make playoffs. I don't think that the roster still is very good on paper, and I still think it was a little fluky that they made playoffs. Keith playing support was not a good look for them. They got Huni in instead, and it got a little bit better. So I'm gonna go ahead and put them at a C tier. I wasn't too impressed with them. Misfits, yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and put them in a B tier. I think they're middle of the pack. I didn't think they were anything special. Yeah, that's about all I have to say about them. This is Optic, but they're not in the league anymore. It's Immortals now. Immortals, you got the same problem that 100 Thieves had. It's just you were worse. Get a new mid laner. Really, you need a new mid laner. That's all I'm gonna say. Origin. This is a kind of a tough one because I can't decide if I want to put them in B tier or A tier, because Nuke Duck he plays every champion in the game. He can be hard to play against, but then there are other parts of the team that can just fall apart. So I'm going to go ahead and put them as the #1 ranked team in B tier. Yeah, I'll put them there. Rogue. They're a fairly young team. I'm going to go ahead and put them in B tier. They're still fairly young. They were halfway decent. They weren't super great. They weren't mind-bendingly awful. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and put them there. We're going to go ahead and put our first EU LCS C tier team. Schalke, I love you, but especially at the beginning of the split, you just were a disappointment. compared to what you have been in past years. I'm going to go ahead and put you in a C. SK. C tier as well. I mean, they just weren't super impressive. Yeah, I know they're definitely a younger team, but you know. So Splice, this is Mad Lions now. And Mad Lions took down G2. They are incredibly young. Humanoid, I think, is the only veteran player on the team, and it's only his second year anyway. So it's super impressive that they did as well as they did this split. I'm going to go ahead and put them in A tier. I think that Mad Lions was a very good team and can be a force to be reckoned with, especially if they keep on getting better. I definitely think that's going to be Europe's third team to Worlds if they keep on playing like they did this split. Time for the biggest disappointment of the year. Team Liquid, solidly C tier. They got 9th. It's one of the most expensive rosters in LCS history, and they got 9th. That's not good. Doublelift just left for TSM, so now they have to try to find a new AD carry. I don't know what they're going to do. Everyone's speculating on that. But yeah, TL, that wasn't a good split for you. Won 4 in a row, and then you go drop down to 9th. TSM, I'm going to put in a B tier. They were super hit and miss. I don't think that the Dardoch experiment paid off well. He ended up playing a lot of tanks, and that's not his style. He did play very well with Broken Blade, and I think that was his one bright spot. I think Broken Blade had a very good split. He was a quality top laner. However, with Doublelift on the team now, I don't know how they're going to play around Broken Blade and Doublelift because both of them like a lot of resources, and there's only so many to go around on the map. So I'm going to leave that to Bjergsen to find out because it's going to be a rough one. Finally, Vitality. You were not good this year. I'm sorry. You weren't good. It looks like it's going to be my my complete list. I guess I put a lot of them down here towards the bottom. But in the LCS, it wasn't even really a competitive split. And in Europe, you really only had a couple teams that were, you know, it was a lot closer. But I think there were just teams that stood out above the rest. LCS, it wasn't really even close because it was Cloud9 just heads and shoulders above the other ones, and everyone else looking incredibly sloppy and not ready for any sort of international competition. If you guys like this different kind of video, go ahead, leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see y'all later.